live. We should be live in both Facebook and YouTube. So if you are there, please let me know that you can see me, because I never know. It's always a bit of a shock. But hopefully that will all have worked. Let me just, there we go. Get up there now. First of all, a little bit of news that I just wanted to share with you, and that is that I'm going to stop doing in-person classes, so I can focus on doing these. Now, what I can do is actually invite guests onto this. So if you want to come and craft with me live and talk to me, then let me know, because I can send you a link. I understand I can anyway. Yes, I think I can send you a link, and then you can actually join in and sign up and come into the studio and sort of say hello, which would be rather nice, because I do try and keep an eye on what is happening and what is up there in the chat. But yeah, I think it would be, if I actually put in the link there, if anyone is watching and wants to join in, just try it and see if it works, because then I'll know. So I'm going to try this out and try and make sure that it is actually working well and working properly. But yes, my idea is I want to do more lives, and it helps me to do it through this particular platform because it sends it live to YouTube and Facebook. I don't have to then download videos and edit them and do all of that stuff before getting them up. I'm getting too old and crotchety for all of that. Plus, I really struggle with the technology. So I thought we'll try this. So if you would like to, please just let me know. If you're watching this on recording or watching it on YouTube and you're interested in joining me in the future, just let me know, and I can share that link, and yeah, then you can join me, which would be great. So yeah, there we go. Now, let me talk about what we're going to do today. So from next week, I'm going to do a couple of craft-alongs a month. They're the ones on Zoom where we can talk to each other while I try this out and see if we can see what happens if we share this particular link and see if it works. So yeah, I'm going to try that again, try that and find a friend to try it out with and see if that does work. So yeah. Actually, oh no, I can't. I was going to say I could try. There's a friend that might be joining me now that I could try it with, but I can't, because my camera is on my phone is obviously that I send my messages on is obviously doing the pictures for the craft desks. So, honestly, technology and me, it doesn't work. I'm sure I can send them some other way, but hey, not for now. Let us get on with today's card, because I don't want to keep rabbiting on. But anyway, that is my plan. So do let me know what you think about that. Do let me know if you think there is anything you actually would like me to do or whatever. That is sort of showing all the mess at the back of my desk, which we'll try not to show. We'll just try and show the actual working space. Got my coffee, sorry, yes. I will just have a little slurp of that before we talk about today's project. I'll put it on my warming mat. Best present I ever got for a birthday, I think that. But we are going to use, because this was the set I'm using in April, so we're still using Cutest Crew. You can use any small to medium image stamp set you've got. So please don't think that just because you haven't got this, you can't use it. I've loved this. I've loved making cards with this. And today I thought, to finish off the month with something really special, I am making a pop-up slider card, or a slider pop-up card. So this is the first one I made. I saw this by an American demonstrator. And I saw it on her site and thought, oh, I like that card. But obviously I had to fiddle around to make the sizes work for our UK cardstock. I had to have a few goes, I have to say, but I did manage it. So this is my version in the UK centimetre version for our normal size cardstock that we use over here. And this is it. So this is the surprise. So that is the front, just a fairly nice front, just, nice coloured animals. But then when you open it, you get this pop-up. There's a sort of slider bar, and then this pops up. Can you see? So that it closes flat and then opens and pops up like that, which I thought was rather sweet. And I saw this and I thought, oh, I like that card. So I made it. I didn't actually put another circle on here. I would have put a coloured circle on, I think, if I was making it again, and I have done in my other ones. But I liked it. But I thought, where can I write my message? So there's a number of places you can. I tried here. I've put this strip on here, this white strip at the bottom, so you can write on there. A little bit awkward because that's a little bit in the way, and it would it would sort of get in the way, but it does work, and that's one option, is to cut a strip and do that. And I just decorated it with my little paw prints again, so it matched this. I'll show you on the other card what I've done. You could, of course, always put a panel on the back. That always works with any card. So the other one I made, and this is slightly better because I've actually remembered to put the coloured circle on this time. And this one opens in the same way. You've still got the nice slider, but this time I thought I'd follow the circle motif, and I've just put a plain circle on this side of the card, which again gives me room to write a greeting. So totally up to you where you put that bit, and we'll discuss it as we do it. And as I said, if you didn't want to put anything else inside the card, you could of course put something on the back here to write on. So there's my cat and my dog one. So today we're using the third. I'm going to say animals. They're not really animals, are they? But we're using the birds anyway from Cutest Crew today. So let me put those two just to one side for a minute and get all the things we need. So the pieces that you need are, and I shall just get them up here so I can actually tell you as we're going. So we've got the card base, and this is rather tatty by the look of it. I might have to just have a little go with my scissors on the edge there, because it's a little bit, just run the scissors down the edge when I've got little bits of fluff on the edge of the card, and it'll just ease them off. The other thing you can do if you've got one is use one of these sand rubbers. Very, very good for just neatening up the edges where you've got a rough edge. Yet again, I probably need to just put another, I'll finish that later, but yeah, we'll see it. Right. Stop doing it now, Carol. Come on. Just get rid of those few little bits, because I really don't like these little bits of fluff you get when they don't. I think Barley Blue is a particularly difficult cardstock to cut, actually. I do think it has a problem. Right, I'll just ease down the edge using my bone folder, and there we go. So we need a normal card base after all of that. This is the length of A4 in centimetres, so 29.6, cut at 10.5, so half the width. So that is the first piece you need. Then you need another piece of the same length, so 29.6, excuse me, and this is 2.5 centimetres wide. The US measurements, if you're using US cardstock, 11 inches by 4.25 inches for the big piece, and for the mechanism, 11 inches by 1 inch. Then you need a second piece which sits at the back and actually holds the mechanism in place. And this piece is 5.5 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres, or 2.25 inches by 4.25 inches. Then I have done a lot of the rest of the preparation. So I've already cut out my circles. I've got a circle I'm going to use for my sentiment on this side. I've got my circle plus my coloured circle that's going to go on the mechanism. And then I've got ones for the front. And I cheated because I cut the smaller circle out of the big one. But this is going to go on the front. This is my decoration for the front. On the previous ones I showed you, I did the strips because it suited that particular stamp. For this bird one, I am going to use that, and we'll see how that goes. Then you also need some pieces of DSP. Oh yeah, I know what that was for. You need some pieces of DSP. I will also need another little scrap of, I should have a scrap somewhere in my, there we go, that one will do. Yeah, you need a scrap for a sentiment, and I've cut a bit of coloured cardstock, and actually that scrap is exactly right. It just needs shortening. Excellent. And you also need some DSP, and the DSP pieces that you need one for the front of the card. I'm using a retired Gingham Gala DSP. Just love it. It's beautiful colours, and suited these cards. So whatever DSP you want to use, 14.3 by 10 or 5.25 by 4 inches if you're working in inches, for US cardstock. And then you need 2 strips which are going to go across the inside, and these are both 14.6 long by 3.6 high, or 1.5 inches by 4.25 if working with American cardstock. So those are all the bits you need, plus the envelope, of course. And the next thing, or the first thing we need to do, just pick all these up, is do some scoring. So let me just check everything is still working right. Yes, nothing in the chat yet. No. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is score the cardstock. So if you are working with US cardstock, the 11 inches wide, you want to score at 5.5 inches. For our cardstock, you want to score at 14.8. Struggling to speak today. And then I've got my wonderful idea for actually folding it and make sure it's straight. Put one end to the edge of your trimmer, fold the other bit over, and then you know that it's exact, and you can give it a jolly good score just with your bone folder like that. And that gives you a beautiful edge where there's no overlap, and it's just, oh, perfect. And I do like that. So that is our card base. Then we're going to do to score our card strip, our sort of narrow card strip. So let me make sure I've got my right measurements here. So I'll try and give you the inches as well. So for inches, it's 3/4 of an inch. For centimetres, it is 2 centimetres. So I'm going to make sure that it's well butted up against the top and nice and straight, because you want this mechanism to work properly, and it really does need good creases to do so. So make sure that it's always butted right against the top, so you're getting a nice straight score line. So we start at 2 centimetres. The next one is 14.5. So we're moving it right along there. In inches, it is 5 3/8 if you're working with the US cardstock. They are different sizes, the card bases, and therefore this mechanism is a different size. So please don't mix up your measurements, because you'll get a mess, basically. So the next one after that, 14.5, and then it's 19, or where am I? 7 1/8. And then 7 5/8, or 20.5 for centimetres. And then the final one is 25 centimetres, or 9 1/4 inches. And you see, completely different. We're on 9 3/4 here because I am doing it for a different size card base. Really important you don't get those mixed up. So those are all the scoring we need to do. So it's just about being careful with those score measurements. And to make this work properly, we are going to score the first one bends the other way, if you like. So that's going to be a valley fold. So that's going to fold upwards. The rest of them are all going to be mountain folds. And as you fold them, as you're taking it across, just make sure that it is even and the sides are level with each other. So for each of these, it's a mountain fold. So we're going to fold it as a mountain and give it a really good burnish, because this is a mechanism. It needs to work. So again, making sure it's exactly lined up, top and bottom, really important. And then our final one just here. There we go. So you'll have something that's shaped like that, and the mechanism itself works like this. So it should look like that when you've got it all done. I'm just going to ease down that rather rough edge again with this. Get rid of my bits. You won't see most of those because they'll be underneath. Okay, so next things to do. We're going to get this piece ready. Yeah, we'll stick this on the front. I'm going to stick the DSP on the front, and then that's out of the way. So I'll do that next. Anybody there? I can't see any chat today, and I don't know if it's me or whether it's that nobody's watching. If not, never mind. As I said, I am going to try seeing if I can give you the link to the studio and come in to the studio, because it'd be quite nice to see people like that. Because then I think we can talk, and that's what I want to test out. Anyway, there we go. So I've stuck that on the front. This is going to go on the inside, but before we actually do it, I'm actually going to stamp. So you have this long strip here, which is going to sort of, you can see this bit, and that's why I'm going to stamp on it. So I'm just going to ease off that edge again, which is very rough. I'm just going to smooth it down a bit. There we go. And because I've got birds, I'm going to use the little bird feet stamp. And I am going to stamp across just in balmy blue, the same as the cardstock. I'm just going to stamp a little line of bird feet. They don't need to be straight. They just need to sort of come across this piece. You don't need to go right to the end either, but I'll probably do one more just in case, because a lot of it will be hidden. But just a little piece of, little few bird feet or paws or whatever you want to put there, a few flowers if you're doing a different type of image, whatever you want. Or you could, if you wanted, you could put a piece of DSP on that and match this. That I did think about that, but I think there's just a few too many squares to see it. So that was the next stage. So we've got all of this done. The next thing we want to do is take this piece that you've, let's put that out of the way for a minute, this piece that you cut, the rectangle piece that you cut, and we're going to mark that at the halfway stage. So decide which you want as the front and the back. That's going to be my back. Have it upright on your trimmer, and you're going to go half the width. So this was 10.5, so I need to go at 5 1/4. And if you're working in inches, that piece was 4 1/4, so you want to go at 2 1/8. It's actually very similar measurements. Then I'm going to shut my trimmer blade across, trimmer channel across, and just use a pencil to draw down the middle. Really simple. Okay, and you don't want to worry about that. That's the back of the thing. You won't see it, but it's important because we've got to line up this mechanism correctly. So this piece, the end piece, away from where you've done it, the one that's going to fold across, is going to fold behind here. So we want it to be right in the middle. So I'm using the line to help me line it up properly. Okay, so that is in the middle of here. You can actually even measure it and mark on here if you were really obsessive about it, but I am just going to eyeball it. That is close enough in the middle for me. So I am now going to put some glue on that tab and then fold it across. So I'm using the line. Nobody will see this line. It's purely for us to get that in the right place, to put it across and stick it down. Okay. While I've got this here, I am going to add some bits of tear and tape to the top and the bottom of this piece. It's a little bit long, that one, doesn't matter. I shall trim it off in a second, and a bit at the top as well, because we want to stick it down top and bottom, but not in the middle, because we want to allow this piece to move around and move through. I'll just fold it back actually when I come to do it. Okay. So now we're going to take the card and we're going to set this mechanism up. So how it works, it folds like that. So when you've stuck that bit on, you're just going to fold that round so that it's then sitting roughly here, just so you can see how it's right. You see why you aren't going to see too much of that mechanism, because it actually is hidden. So that's what we're looking at there. And then we want this to sit in the middle here. And the way to work it out is that you can either measure again and make a mark, but it's difficult to see when you put this down. So I found the easiest way was to actually use this. And if you move this across and then press down, two things happen. First of all, it gets this so that it can sit right in the center, which we can then line up properly top and bottom. Yeah, so it's there. And we can also check that it doesn't stick out beyond the end of the card. If it does, you've done some measurement wrong. So you've opened this tab at the end against the crease line and marked that off. So now we can stick down this center bit, and I can fold back that bit that fell off. And my advice for this is pull your tear and tape partly off and just fold it down, fold it away from the piece. I'm doing one each side here because it's really important we get this straight. So again, I'm going to hold it flat, put that against the edge, and then make sure that it's very straight. I'm actually going to use the lines on my board to help me with this. There we go. So making sure it's absolutely straight, press it down, and then making sure it's meeting at both edges. I'm going to push on the edges, and then I can pull off the rest of the tape, which got lost here. So let's try that again. There we go. And stick it down. There we go. So that makes it really easy. Just use this as your guide and make sure it's straight top and bottom, because it will abut right to the edge of the card. And then we can test it's still moving. Yes, it is. So that's working beautifully. Okay, so next stage, before we do anything else, I'm going to pull it up and I'm just going to add a few more bird feet on this side. Because I want them to see. Where's my bird feet gone? I've also lost my balmy blue. Oh, there it is. Because I just want it to look as if it's all one piece. So I'm just going to move that out of the way and just put a few more little bird feet going across in the center there. You could put another piece of DSP there if you wanted. I did that with the dog card, but I decided this was probably a better way to do it. Okay, so now we have our slider mechanism in place. So I'm now going to stick on my pieces of DSP, which just go top and bottom, and they just simply glue down. So we'll quickly do that. So I just love a fun fold card, and I love cards with movement. So this sort of hit two things with me, because it's movement and it's a lovely fun fold. So there we go. Have that there, and then the other piece at the top. And because we've measured this and know it's in the center, we know these pieces will fit properly. So these are all, guess how I realized I needed to do that measurement of the main panel mark and make a mark and make sure I knew where I was sticking it. That's because for the first one, I had to adjust my pieces of DSP because it wasn't quite in the middle. Still worked, as you could see. But yeah, always best to just try and make sure that you've got everything in the right place to start with, rather than have to fiddle around with it again. So there we have our mechanism. So now we need to stick our mechanism to our card so that it will work. So you want to have it nice and flat, and it will be butting up against the fold here. So the next stage is to put some glue just on this flap. Okay, just on that flap there. Everyone see that okay? I'll bring it up a bit closer to the camera. So just on the flap, hold it flat and simply close your card. And that will stick it down to the front of the card. Just going to press on it to make sure it's stuck well. And then when you open the card, oops, make sure it's stuck. Just hold it for a minute. Don't be honestly, too quick. I didn't leave it to actually set. Just let the glue really stick for a minute. And then when we open it, our mechanism works. Okay. Lovely. I can play with that all day. I love cards that do that. Right, let's get the other bits going on here. So we need to do some stamping of our birds. Oh, I was going to use my bird feet on my envelope as well. So let me just do that too. We'll get this out because I'm going to be using this again. Lost my bird feet too. Oh, there we are. Right, so we'll just have some bird feet on the envelope as well. We'll just have them in two corners here. Yeah, it'll do. Just a couple of extra ones on that one because it's going off the page. Probably put another one here too. There we go. Another one at the bottom there. I get carried away sometimes. Right, there we go. That's just on the envelope. Obviously, you can use DSP to cover the envelope or do other stamps on it. Up to you. I just thought I'd do some very quick bird feet. Put that to one side because we won't need to touch that again. But I do need to stamp my birds and my greeting. So I'm going to use my happy birthday inside. And that's going to go at the top of this one here. Like that. And while I've got my balmy blue out, I shall do my main sentiment, which is going to go on the front, which is have a nice day. Just take you off there to do my stamping. Have the best day. There we go. Which I'm going to stamp slightly to the left there because I'm going to trim this down slightly, as it was a little bit too long to go on my piece here. I just need to trim it down. About there. I've probably got it a bit too much to the side there, but well, we can trim the whole lot actually. If I pull that across, I'm going to do this. This is a really cheeky way to do it. But if I pull that across so I've got double the width I want, I can then trim both together in my trimmer. It's a real cheeky way to do it, but it does work. And I want the same gap here as here, so I want to cut it around here. So I'll cut them both together. And then when I move that across, you'll see I've got a nice little thing all the way around there. Might trim that just a tad more actually. Just a little tad. There we go. There. That is my sentiment as well, which I will now stick to itself so that that is ready to go on the front of the card in a few minutes. There we go. That might actually, will that work with my idea for the front? I can always stick it on dimensionals. Yeah, it will. Right, I am going to do my birds. So that is my army blue. I can shut that because we're going to use Memento because I'm going to be colouring birds. So I'm hoping they will still fit on this small one. They do just about. I'll have them up here because I'll stick the sentiment bit strip across the bottom, I think. There we go. So that is my piece for the front. And then on this piece, they're going to go lower down below my sentiment for the centre, for the pop-up bit in the middle. There we go. I've also got, where was my, did I not have another circle somewhere? Somewhere I should have had another circle. Yeah, it's here. It's stuck to the first one. There we go. Because I just do want to have a little bit of a decoration here. Just this is where we're going to write. So I'm just using the butterflies. Do we have No, I don't need butterflies on the other pieces. Don't get carried away, Carol. That's getting too much. Okay, so that's the stamping done. So now we need to do some colouring. And I've got a range of colours here. I've got Bubble Bath, Lemon Lolly, Balmy Blue, and I've just got a little bit of Old Olive, just the one Old Olive, just because I'm going to colour the grass, but I only wanted to colour it in the one colour. So we'll just do the grass in the Old Olive here. And then my middle bird is going to be my blue, my general blue one. So I'm going to use my Balmy Blue to colour in the bird. It's very restful colouring, isn't it? But it's probably a bit boring for people to watch. And I apologise if it is so. You can always speed through this bit of the... Just put a little bit of shading on with that. I'm going to use my dark Lemon Lolly for the beaks. Do this one as well. I should be doing them both at the same time, given I got both. Of course, I could have done this ahead of time and saved a little bit of time showing you what I'm doing, but I don't think it matters too much. It won't take too long to colour these. The dogs I did actually colour, and cats took me ages to colour, so it's a good job I'm not doing those on, because there's an awful lot of them to colour when you're putting quite a lot in the card itself. So... going to be too careful with it. Then we're going to have one of the birds is going to be pink and the other one's going to be yellow. So which pink? We'll have this one as pink, I think. You can always reverse it. I'm actually going to do the same, but you could reverse them and have them all different colours on the front and inside, of course. But that's what I did with the dogs. I think I had them all different colours and kept moving the colours around, but that's fine. A little bit of shading on that just to add a little bit of interest, a little bit of depth to my colouring. There we go. I better colour my butterflies actually while I'm here. This is dark, so I'll put the dark in there. Pink butterflies and a yellow butterfly. Could do a blue butterfly, or shall I just do two yellow? Just do two yellows for speed. There we go. That's my butterflies done. Right, just do my final bird here. In my lemon lolly. There we go. So really not too much colouring to be done on that. So it was done fast and quickly, thank goodness. So this one is going to go in the middle of the front. So I'm going to stick these all together here. And now I'm not going to use dimensionals too much on the front. I'm going to use a little bit, and I'll show you why in a minute. But don't use too much, because obviously you've got your you've got the slider mechanism, which adds depth to the card anyway. So you don't want to add too much more. So for this, I'm just putting the glue around the outside because I cut out the white from the center because I was trying to be abstemious. There we go. So that bit is going to sit on the front. And again, I am just going to put it on flat. And I'm going to have it just slightly to one side. So try and have my bird sitting on flat ground. That would be best. There. And then for this, I'm going to stick it down there, but I am going to put a dimensional on this end, and because it will stick up because it's got the 3 layers of the circle there. So at this end, I'm going to just put a couple of dimensionals. And then at the other end, we're just going to have some glue. Like this. There. So that's the front of my card. Now we need to do the middle. So this is the bit that we're going to write on and put any greeting in, which I'm just going to put on the left side of the card here. Just roughly in the middle of that piece. And then we need to stick this piece on here. So the first thing I need to do is actually stick those together. I'd forgotten to do that. So I'll just quickly do that. Get it right in the middle. There we go. Hold that down a second. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put glue on the back of here because we don't want to stick it anywhere except onto this small panel in the center here. So we're just going to put glue on that small panel. Okay. So it's just that bit, you see? And then I'm going to center this by just using my head in the way of the camera, I'm quite sure, and I apologize. And then I'm just going to slide my finger into that little gap behind and just hold it and just make sure it's stuck down. So I'm just going to give that a second rather than do it too quickly like I did with the one when I was sticking that bit down. So I'm just going to hold it with my finger till it's nice and stuck. There we go. And there is our third slider card. Whoops, it's not stuck. Let me just hold it another minute. Did you see how it was just rocking there? Because it wasn't quite in the middle. Just move it over. There we go. Stick, stick, stick and hold. There, that's better. So it's not rocking off now. So I hope you like these slider cards. They're great fun. As I said, we've got these other ones here. We've got the cat sliding up and also my dog one, my real prototype. I would have put another coloured circle on there, I think. But anyway, there we go. So I hope you like those. The circles, by the way, I cut all of those with stylish shape dies. I used the largest die and the second smallest for most of them. That one was the third smallest, obviously. These are second smallest ones, second and first. Just the sizes there, we're talking the largest. Okay, so I hope that gave you some ideas. I hope you really like that. I apologise that we don't seem to have had anybody talking, but there we go. I hope you have seen this. I hope it has worked. I'll have to go and check now. But thanks for joining me today. I will see you again next time. Do sign up for my emails, and then you'll know whenever I am doing these lives. And as I said, I hope that we will be able to talk on this in future. And I will say more about that in this weekend's email. So thanks for joining me. And the blog will be up in very, very shortly, as soon as I've taken pictures of the rest of the cards. Thanks for joining me today. Let me just put me up so you can actually see me again before I say goodbye. Why won't that work? There we go. So yes, goodbye, and I will see you again very soon. Oh, you've been sitting quietly watching, Pippa. Oh, thank you. So there was somebody there. I'm glad to see it. They've changed this. I used something called Restream, and they've changed it. And I used to be able to see if people were watching. It had a little message that came up, and now it isn't. And I'm not sure. They changed things. I don't know why. But thank you for joining me today anyway, Pippa, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.